It is time now for our weekly Moody Moment segment, and that means Taylor Riggs.
Hey, Vonnie, yes, it's all about infrastructure this week. It's our topic du jour. And joining me now to talk about all of this is Marcia Van Wagner, Vice President and Senior Credit Officer over at Moody's. Marcia, it was great. You had a report talking about infrastructure and really how local benefits won't really meaningfully benefit from this package. Why is that? Why are they more burdened, so to speak?
Well, local governments are facing the expensive nature of this plan. So the plan asks governments to identify new revenue streams, which is difficult for local governments to do.
Right.
And then the feds are only putting in 20% of the project costs, which contrasts with the current highway program where it's flipped. The feds put in 80%. So those two things make it very expensive for local governments to participate, and they have a hard time raising taxes, and they might not have control over a lot of those things. And then on top of that, local governments as well as state governments are experiencing low revenue growth by historical standards. And they have rising expenses for Medicaid, pensions, and so forth. So it's a big lift.
Right, especially with those pension costs that we've talked so much about. Also in your report, it was great. It talked about P3s. Those seem to be popular in Europe. We're having a harder time getting P3s more active here in the U.S. What's the outlook for the P3s?
Well, I think it's very important to begin to remember with P3s that they are a way to get a project done, but it's not a mechanism to pay for the project. At the end of the day, you're still using tolls or taxes or fees to pay over time for the cost of that project. So it's not a panacea for infrastructure needs. I think that there are definitely benefits to P3s in terms of project completion, and this plan does make some of that easier, but it doesn't unleash, some great wave of P3 investment.
Right. Another thing, of course, we probably all took the MTA subway this morning. You talk in your report a lot about transits and the transit systems, and they seem to be even more burdened as well by this plan. Can you walk me through the transits and sort of the funding for those as well, the much needed funding?
Right. So this plan doesn't actually add money for transits. There are existing grants that transit systems already can qualify for, but the plan would make it more difficult to qualify for those grants. So it's really not a plus for the transit systems.
Okay, so more infrastructure reports hopefully coming out soon as we await more details, of course, from the Trump administration. My thank you. That was Marcia Van Wagner from Moody's Investor Service.